Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to discuss management objectives. What are the management objectives? These are the goals, aims or purposes that an organization wish to achieve over varying period of time. So organization had some goals or some objectives. All the organizations had some goals that they have to achieve, and these are called objectives. There can be primary objectives, that is basically the profit. All the organizations, business organizations which are there, are functioning for profit making, for functioning for the money, for the revenue, and these are the primary objectives of an organization for which the company has been started. There can be some secondary objectives also. These are the objectives that they lay down to achieve the primary objectives. Okay, for example, here if the primary objective is profit making, then secondary objectives will be all the plans that they have to achieve to earn the profit. And there are some individual objectives as well of the employees. They can be monthly goals, the targets that they have to achieve to get some incentive, financial rewards. Okay, so these are individual objectives. And the social objectives. Social objectives are the goals towards the society in which the business is operating. So all the activities that are aimed towards society, that will come under social objectives. The goals, the aims, the purpose that an organization has for society. So these are four kinds of goals, of objectives in a business. Socio-economic purpose or the mission. So you can see these are the objectives of the board of directors. And top level manager are uh, has to the top level managers has to lay down overall objectives of the organization, long range strategies. And middle level management has goals for, they have more specific overall objectives for key areas, division objectives, various departmental objectives. And these are for the middle level management. And lower level managers have to have their own individual objectives on their performance, their personal development objectives. So that is the hierarchy of managerial hierarchy of objectives. Okay, so on the top level, the objectives will be more inclusive overall objectives of the organization that are aimed for the long range strategic objectives. And on the lower levels, the objectives are confined to the individual goals, individual preferences. So there can be smart goals of an organization that are, they have to be specific, they have to write out clear concise goals, measurable, that the ability to track your progress. So you can measure that you have to achieve 50% sales, 50% more sales in the next month, next cycle. So that is measurable. You have to achieve something that can be measured. And achievable, the objective should be realistic, that the challenges, set challenging yet achievable goals. You have to set challenging goals, but they should be achievable goals. They should be realistic, they should be relevant, that are relevant to overall life plan, overall organizational objectives. And they should be timely. Goal has to be to be a finish line, that they has to a target that finish time attached. So there should be a time that is given to for achieving those objectives. So these are smart goals: S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T for timely. Okay, so S, that is specific. Set real numbers with real deadline. Don't say, I want more visitors. How much more? So you have to be specific, you have to be measurable when deciding your goals. Make sure your goal is trackable. Don't hide behind what buzzword like brand, engagement, social influence. You have to be measurable, the things that can be measured. You have to put your objectives in those variable frames. They should be attainable, they should be realistic, they should not be they should not be like that you cannot attain, that you can only write or say. So work towards a goal that is challenging but possible, realistic. Be honest with yourself. You know what you can achieve, Okay, so don't forget any hurdle you may have to overcome, and they should be time bound. They should be time bound to your goals. Keep pushing towards a goal you might hit someday. Give yourself a deadline. Okay, so till this date you have to achieve this goal. That is how you can make your objectives more effective. Now, what are the advantages of laying down objectives? It gives unity in planning process. You know what the objectives of the organization are, and the whole organization start functioning to achieve those objectives. And there's decentralization of authority when you have objectives. So there's it is helpful in exercising control over business activities. If you have an objective, you can control the business activities of the organization. It stimulates motivation in people. You have some target that you have to achieve, then that target achievement of target and uh, that feeling of accomplishment they will achieve, that stimulates motivation in the employees. And it is impossible without objective. It begins with setting objectives. So planning, the first function of management, the basic function of management, it is impossible without setting your goals, without setting your objectives, because plan you make only for achieving those objectives, those goals. And the existence of organization is also not possible without an objective. People come together to achieve some goals, to achieve some common common things, common reasons they have to make an organization. So planning is impossible without objectives. Organization is impossible without any goal. So there are some difficulties in setting objectives that are difficult to define. There are some variables, some qualitative aspects like satisfaction, customer satisfaction, relation, morale of employees, that are difficult to define. And if you do not have an objective that is definable, that you cannot define, then it is difficult to set. So these things are difficult to bring into objectives, and difficult to devise means in case of unachievable objectives. If some objectives are there that are not achievable, in that case employees can become frustrated out of the continuous failure to achieve them. And because objectives are just the targets, there's no way to achieve those objectives. If there's no way to achieve those objectives, that can become the factor of frustration among the employees because of the continuous failures, because you have set some objectives that are unachievable for them. Other thing with objectives is that it is difficult to reconcile objectives. There are some objectives that are contradictory among different departments of the organization. In those cases also there's difficulty in setting up objectives. And there are two um, different management styles, that are management by objective and one is management by exception. Now MBO is a process of defining objective within an organization so that management and employees agree to the objectives and understand what they need to do in the organization. So you have some objectives on the basis of which the employees and the management they work, they understand those objectives, and now they know what to do to achieve those objectives. That is management by objectives. However, MBE is a policy by which management devotes its time to investigate only those cases. Okay, so they have some if there's some exception in the functioning, only in that case management interrupts, management devotes their time. Otherwise the things, howsoever things are going, they are fine. So something that is planned, that is going on, that is fine. If there's some exception, only then management has to interrupt, sorry. Now employee participation in management by objectives is high because they know the objective and they have to perform those things to achieve those objectives. That's why there's decentralization if there are objectives, then there's decentralization in the operations. However, in MBEs, there's employee participation is low, and decision making employee participation is high on decision making part in MBOs, and there's minimal employee participation in decision making in MBEs. There's no responsibility ambiguity, as responsibilities are clearly assigned in MBOs, but in MBE there's responsibility and ambiguity. Dependency on one group or department is low in MBO, and on one group and one department dependency is very high in MBEs. It is appropriate for experienced managers. The MBO, it is appropriate for experienced managers, and MBE is appropriate for experienced executives. Now we have efficiency. Whole organization take part in decision making, so it reduces efficiency, and there's high efficiency in MBEs. So that is the difference between MBO and MBE, the two different management styles. That's the end of video. I hope you understand the objectives of an organization. What are the objectives of an organization, and who all are involved in laying down the objectives. So that's the end. Thank you. Have a great day.